Well, hi there, this is Gareth from ActiveTech. One of the things we're proud of is our Splashpath app, which allows swimmers to track their swims and also set themselves challenges. Today I'm heading to Highbury in North London to catch up with Kate Sabot, a Splashpath user, to hear about her swimming story. So Kate, tell me how you first got started swimming.
Oh gosh, it's hard to remember when I first started swimming because I think I started when I was 6 months old or something. So I've always been around water my whole life. Growing up in California, it's a way of life. But it was really when I was about school age when I started swimming on a team, and that kind of it was a built-in community for me. And so from that point onwards, I was on the swim team up until I left for college. And so water and being in a pool is kind of a way of life for me. But in terms of how I interact with water today, there really was a transition point after kind of moving from being in college and having structured teams to being an adult and having a job and trying to figure out a way to keep this part of my life going. So I've always been part of water polo teams as well, but water polo relies upon swimming fitness so intensely that I've needed to keep up my swimming fitness separately from that as well. So.
And you talk about swimming teams and how that gives you structure around your swimming.
Definitely.
When you moved away from that, how did you keep yourself motivated to swim on a regular basis?
It was really hard, to be honest, because I was used to having a coach tell me what to do. And when you have that kind of structure, you become very dependent upon it. And like for other sports, like I also run. I would run with other people, and then because I would get distracted by our conversation, I would just keep going and let them be like the pace horse, so to speak, and just follow them. But in swimming, it's harder to do that, and in part because you can't really talk so much to people. So I had difficulty with it. So often I would get in the pool and play around, but I'd get distracted and wouldn't get the same intensity of a workout as I would with a team. So it's been a challenge that and so I've relied upon being on teams. But it's hard when I travel for work, keeping that up, because even if you're in a hotel that has a pool, I'll get in the water and enjoy being in the water, but without somebody telling me what to do, the likelihood of me actually doing a set and completing that, and with the intensity where I get out like, oh, I did a really good workout, it's not going to happen so much.
And when you're travelling with work, it can sometimes be a bit tricky to find a pool. Is that something you've experienced?
Definitely, particularly in the places where I travel for work, which granted are primarily in sub-Saharan Africa. So not necessarily a lot of pools, but they do exist, but knowing where they are is really challenging. And there are gyms that have them, but it takes a lot of research, and if you're there for business, you don't necessarily have the time to do that. So it's been a lot easier for me to keep up other types of forms of exercise like running, but swimming is where my heart is and my passion, and with being pregnant, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I didn't want to point out the obvious, but you are pregnant.
Yes.
So tell me, are you still swimming through the pregnancy?
Definitely. It's actually the one form of exercise that doctors recommend people to even start if they haven't been doing it before, because it's so good for you and it's not weight bearing, and you can do it all the way up until you give birth. And these days you can even give birth in the water, so you literally can swim until the baby pops out.
And how effective is it from a fitness point of view for you? Is it purely about fitness for you these days, or are you training for anything, specific goals?
That's a great question. For me, it's purely about fitness at this point. I think just where I'm at with my life, and that I'm growing a baby and will want to at some point no longer look like I still have a baby in me. The fitness element is really important, particularly since I'm facing probably the most intense physical feat of my life in a few weeks. The fitness element is really critical. But one of the things that I've often talked about is wanting to do a triathlon. And so I think after the baby's born, that might be a new goal for myself, in which case I'm going to need to have very specific targets that I reach for my swimming fitness, as well as running and biking and all of that.
Oh, that's great. Thanks very much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you.
So if you're wanting to use swimming to help improve your fitness, or you need a bit of motivation in the pool, download Splashpath today.